Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, we are going to cover the topic of filtering axis pass-through query with the parameters. I know you will say that it's easy and straightforward. Just simply we have to provide a colon or a question mark and axis will start prompting the value. You're right, but not 100% because it works in case of local tables only and not in case of the linked tables or the databases. Let me show you with example. So this is the Axis database I have, and I have one local table here. Let's see the data in that: name, marks, name of the and ID is the column. And based on this, I have created one local table query. So let's see the design view. Here we are selecting the ID, name and the marks from that particular table. So in this case, if we run this, it's gonna work because we are going to pull all the records. But what if we want to filter it for a particular name? In that case, we have to provide a simply where clause, and let's say we want to filter it for ID, where ID is equals to, we have to give a simple in brackets, enter ID, a colon. And if we see the data for this one, database view, it's going to prompt us for the ID because we have written that just colon in front of it. Say 2, I enter 2 and it's click OK. So I can get the ID 2 record. And yes, it's simple. Either we can write here the colon or a question mark and it's going to work for us. Similarly, I have one linked database actually. I already linked one database here, and that database is actually MySQL database. For that, I'm going to use a world database where I have a country and a city written, and this is the query where I'm selecting the continent, country name, city name, district, everything, two different, and I'm going to filter it on a continent in Asia or North America or anything. So if I simply run it, I'm going to get a data into the SQL editor. So I want to run the same query into the Axis. What happens in that case? So this is my query. I can say parameter query, param query. I'm opening it in design view. You see here, I have the same query written over here and I'm filtering it for Asia. See, it's hard-coded filter. So let me just simply run it. If I open, it will be filtered for Asia. Now if I want to change the continent, I have to simply go back to the query and I have to filter it for the particular continent. Now let's say I want to filter it similarly by prompting the continent. So in that case, I'm trying to create same parameter here, enter con and colon. What happens in this case if I'm trying to run it? Let's say right click and see the database view. ODBC call failed. Yes, this is the expected error. Now what we have to do in this case? Why it's not working? It won't work in case of linked databases in Axis, and we have to use a different way to pass the parameter here, and that's what I'm going to explain you now. To make it simple for understanding, I have created one block diagram. Let me share with you what we are going to do. We are going to create a form to accept the required parameters and a button. So in this case, let's say we will create one text box which will accept the continent as a parameter and a button. Then on click of the button, we will call a function to manipulate and construct the query, and we will save the query back to our in our query editor, and then we will execute the query and we will see the result. So this is what we are going to do. So let's start with our step 1, where we are going to create a form, and on that form we will add one text box and a button. So let's go for the text box. Here is a text box. So let's create a text box let's enter the text here, enter continent. I'll just keep it as a count for now. Let's create one button. Okay, so we will be doing, let's finish it for now. Go to other, let's call it as a text 0 for now, it's fine. And then button, we already have properties of button, event. So event will be event procedure, open it. So click, on click, we want to do something. For that, let me open the Notepad++, which I already have it here, all the information. I copied that query here, which is as is, just the difference is param continent. So what we want to do, we want to construct a query with all these existing things, but continent equals to the param continent. In our case, it's actually text 0 because we have created the box with the name text 0. Already written all this function over here, which I'm going to discuss step by step, and then I'll copy paste. So I gave a name as refresh data, dimension string, it's any name as a string, and the dimension db as a database, and dimension qdef as a query definition. So what I'm going to do, just check this strSql, which is my string. I'm adding one space, then strSql concatenated with strSql, and here the first line of MySQL as is, you can see. Then I'm going on a next line, ampersand vbNewLine. Similarly the second line, third line, and most important is the fourth one, where I'm going to do again the string SQL concatenated with the continent and the param continent. In this case, let me change the name to text 0 because it is text 0, and that's it. After that, we are setting the current database, qdef, query definition, and giving a param query. You know that our query name is a param query on axis, and we are just defining it as a SQL with this with clause and the other recording source equals to param query and making it visible. That's it, very simple. If you want this code, I will paste it into the description of the video below. So let's take a copy of this simply without wasting your time. I already typed it and kept it ready, and let's go back here. Refresh the data, okay, and then enter it here. Here we go. So we have it ready here. So I'm going to save it, and let's give a name as param. I'm going to save it. That's it, it's ready for us. Now let's go back. This is our param query. Let me show you param query. First of all, I have written continent equals to Asia, and let's open the param first, and let's try to enter something which is we can easily identify, XXX. I clicked it. Now let's close this, and let's go back to param query, open in a design view. You can see that XXX is already here. Now let me close this, and let's try to see some data. In this case, it won't give us any data because there is no XXX continent. Let's close this, and let me open again the param form, and let's try to enter which is the value we can see the data, North America. Okay, and just click button, so it's there. Okay, I'll keep it open, and let's go back and let's see the query in design view first. North America, you see it's clearly now the query had changed, and you can now right click open, and it will show us the North America records. So This is how we can filter the axis query, which is a linked table query, linked database query, with the parameters, by passing the parameters, which is not possible using the simplest way of giving the colon and question mark, the way we did it for local table. And this is what we covered in this session, friends. Please subscribe our channel and support us.